I'd like to direct your attention to December 2012. Did you have a conversation with Dedrick Keelan about acquiring a gun on that day? Yes. All right. Tell us about it. Well, he was at the store and he was seeking Bob. Who is he? Dedrick. All right. Dedrick seeking Bob. And he said he called and told me that Bob had jumped out on him at the corner store and pulled a gun out on him. Do you know Bob's real name? Irian Jones. All right, continue please. So he called me asking for a gun, but whatever I was doing, I wasn't available to assist him with that. All right. Did you see Mr. Keelan at all that day? Not to my recollection. Okay. Did you help him acquire a gun? No. Now, after your conversation with Mr. Keelan, did you learn of a homicide that occurred that same day? Yes. Who was the victim of that homicide? The old lady, Miss Lois, and some dude. Did you speak with a member of MCK about that homicide later? Maybe a few days later. Okay. Who was that MCK member that you spoke with about that homicide? Wayne Miller. Tell us what Mr. Miller told you. Objection, Your Honor. It's hearsay. It's a co-conspirator statement. Yeah, I'm going to overrule. He can answer it. You can continue. I spoke with Wayne Miller. And what did Wayne Miller tell you? Wayne Miller had told me that him, Roy, and Glenn had went on South Beach and cut up. Now, please tell us first of all, attribute the name. You said him, Roy, and, Wayne, Glenn, and Dedrick went on South Beach and cut up. What is South Beach? St. Andrew and Terpsichore. All right. St. Andrew and what did you take cut up to mean? Go spin. What does spin mean? Shoot. All right. Please continue. So after that, that day when the murder happened, I received a call from two people, from Little Key and Larry Rudolph, and they was telling me that, and they saying that, objection, Your Honor. I don't think he's established that those people are in this conspiracy. Ask the predicate question. I'll withdraw that. What did you do after receiving the phone call that you just described? Well, after I received the phone call, I talked to Larry. Tell us what you told Larry. Don't tell me what Larry told you. I told Larry I ain't had nothing to do with it. I wasn't around. Wherever I was at, I told Larry where I was at. And what Larry and Little Key did, they went around and hollered at Miss Loy's son, Hollis. What do you mean by hollered at? Went and talked to him and let him know that, no, wait. Don't tell us anything, that's fine. Tell us more about what Wayne Miller told you about that homicide. Oh, that they went around that spot, but they spotted Bob, and Bob ran towards the house. That's how the old lady wound up getting hit. And Bob's real name is what? Irian Jones. Did they hit Irian Jones that day? No. I'm going to direct your attention to September 24th of 2014. Do you recall being in a truck with Lionel Allen? Yes. Tell us, was anyone else with you all? Yes, it was me. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Me, I was a driver. Jermaine Curry was a passenger. Who is Jermaine Curry? MCK member. He's deceased. Was he involved in these acts with you all? Yes, he's deceased now. All right, who else? Joe Miller, Lager Black, and anyone else? Lionel Allen, and a guy named TJ. I don't know TJ's real name. Was he a part of MCK or YMM? More like YGG. YGG. Is that affiliated with MCK? Yes. Okay. What were you all doing? We was riding around looking for Isaac Jones. Who is Isaac Jones? A member of Gert Town and 3rd and Galvez. Is that a gang? Yes. Do they have a name? Gert Town. Why are you all riding around looking for Isaac? Because Isaac Jones Isaac Jones killed a lot of our friends. All right. Tell us, what did you all do? Tell us about that day. We was all in Mid-City chilling, and we had a hottie, a Dodge Ram truck. What is a hottie? A stolen vehicle. Alright, and what were you all doing in a stolen vehicle? We was riding around looking for Ike. Did you all have guns? Yes. Tell us who had a gun and what kind of gun he had. Jermaine Curry it was a Glock. I don't know if it was a 9 or a 40. Where was Jermaine in the truck? The passenger seat. Alright, continue. Lionel was in the back with Joe Miller and TJ. They had the assault rifles. All three had assault rifles? Yes. Alright, so tell us what happened and where you were. We was riding around, so we rolled through Gert Town, and I spotted, I want to say dude J9. Who is he? He associated with Isaac Jones. Alright. His name came up with having something to do with my partner Jeremy getting killed. Alright, please continue. So he pulled off in a truck and we followed him up Carrollton. And when we got to the red light in front of 5 Happiness, Jermaine rolled the window down, shot, the gun jammed. That's when Lionel and Joe Miller and TJ went to shooting with the assault rifles. You saw this? Yes. Alright, tell us what happened. So that's when the chase started. They pulled off, so we chased them from in front of 5 Happiness on Carrollton all the way to Esplanade until they got away. So what happened? Where did you all end up? How did that end? We ended up back in Mid-City. After that, we went back to Mid-City. What did you do when you got to Mid-City? We put the guns up and everybody went their way. Where did you put the guns? They had a house in Mid-City on Demicord. That's where Joe Miller stashed his guns. Now, when you say they, are you really talking about you and MCK? Well, that was Joe. That's Joe Miller's stash spot. But that's an MCK member? Yes. Alright. That's only his spot, though. Alright. Did MCK have stash spots? Yes. Where were they? On Demicourt and on Pierce and Uloa. What did you all do with the truck? They went and got rid of it. Who is they? I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Glenn. Glenn that took the truck. Glenn and Wayne. I'd like to direct your attention to May 6th of 2013. That night, were you at Club Encore? Yes. Who were you there with? Let's see. Who I was there with? Titty, Jacoby. What is Titty's real name? I'm sorry. Jawan. Okay. Lionel, Jacoby, Gunner, Sean Grayson, Derek Keelan, me, myself. Okay. You mentioned Jacoby. Was he a YMM member? Yes. Alright. Tell us, did anything unusual happen that night? Yes, a murder happened. Tell us about it, and how it began and how it ended, please. Alright. Well, I think it was earlier that week, or maybe the week before, we had, an ongoing feud with Desalone. Who is we? YMM. Alright. Who is Desalone? A group out of the 9th Ward. Alright, please continue. So, Desalone has supposedly came on Martin Luther King and killed T-Pain and Red. So, when we went to the club that night, 2 of Desalone members was at the club. Who were they? Royal Rising and Travis Thomas. What happened? Alright, so all us was in line at first. So I paid extra to get in the club first, so I went in the club. So as I'm in the club, all the rest of them stayed out. So as I'm in the club, somebody come tell me, a lot of people said to call Lionel, my little brother. They was like, your little brother out there, they got into it with the dudes from Desalone. What did you do? I go back out there. What did you see? A little little altercation. It wasn't nothing major. Did you see the 2 persons you just identified, Thomas and Risen? Yes. Alright. Describe what was going on. Describe what you saw. They done had a little altercation. I'm like, come on man, we're gonna go in the club. So now everybody else get in the club. So while we're in the club, Jacoby taunting them, like mugging them. No, please explain what you mean when you say Jacoby was mugging them. He booting them up. What do you mean when you say he was booting them up? Staring them down hard. Staring who down hard? Royal and Travis. All right. What happened after that? So after that, Jacoby was like he was going, he was going to bust some of them up. Tell us did he say that? Yes. And what did you take that to mean? Kill, shoot. All right, continue, please. So after that, I had drank, smoke, whatever. So we leave the club. So when we're leaving the club, Sean Grayson and Titty was in a gray Acura. They left in one car. Me, Lionel, Brian, Jacoby, and Roy got in my car. And what did you all do? We rode around. We rode around Encore. All right. Did you leave the area of Encore at some point? Yes. Tell us where everyone was situated in the car. Lionel was driving. I was front seat passenger. Brian behind. When you say Brian, is that Brian Scott? Yes. Okay. He's behind Lionel. Jacoby behind me. Roy in the middle. When you say Roy, is that Dedrick Keelan? Yes. All right, please continue. So as we leave the club, I doze off. And wake up to Jacoby shooting. Where were you when you woke up, and what did you see? I see Jacoby with the gun hanging out the window. And where was he shooting? Shooting at, I want to say, a gray blue Maxima. Where were you all? In the car. Where was the car? On the interstate moving. So these were two moving vehicles, correct? Yes. How did this end? In death. What happened? After you saw Jacoby firing, describe what happened until the end. Jacoby just kept shooting, and after that, we kept going. We exited on Florida Boulevard. And where did you go? Dropped everybody off. And me and Lionel went to the east and met up with two females. What happened to the guns? Put them up. Were there any other? But when we went to the east, we still had a gun with us, though. How many guns were in the car? 2. What kind and who had them? AK-47. And I don't know what kind the other one was. It was a handgun. Who had the AK-47? Jacoby. Who had the handgun? The handgun was in the back seat also. Do you know who had it? No, sir. Do you know what happened to the car you all were shooting at? It got shot up. Did you see who was riding in the other car? We seen them before we pulled off. And who had you seen before you pulled off? Travis Thomas and Royal Rising. The court's indulgence, please? Yes. Mr. Dorsey, the AK-47 you just described, whose AK-47 was that? Lionel's. Whose car were you in? My car. How do you know that it was Lionel's AK-47? Because it came from by his grandmother's house. You had seen it before? Yes. You had seen him with it before? Yes. Had you seen any of the people you identified today with that AK-47? No. Earlier you mentioned Jeffrey. Jeffrey Wilson? Yes. What was his association with YMM? He was a drug dealer, like not even much mid, maybe a mid, I'd say maybe a mid-level supplier. How do you differentiate that? Why do you say he was a mid-level supplier? I don't know. I don't really want to say mid because mid could mean a lot. Well, tell me, try to explain as best you can. What do you mean when you say he's a mid-level supplier? He could serve. He was able to serve them. He can't serve nobody, no major ounces or none of that. Like, if you want an ounce or something, he's not who you would go to for that. Okay. So you knew him to sell an ounce or less quantities. Is that what you're saying? Lesser than an ounce. All right. When you say serve them, what do you mean by that? Distribute. Okay. Earlier you referenced funk. Uh-huh. Do you remember that? Yes. Who were you speaking of when you said funk? Vinny. All right. How did Vinny die? He got killed. And who killed Vinny as far as you know? Lionel and Jawan.